Before we begin, let me ask you something. When you moved to the Philippines, who did you trust first? The beautiful woman who said you were different? The real estate agent who found you the perfect condo? The friends who invited you to exclusive parties? Or the maid who never asked you for anything? This is the story of Michael Carter, a 52-year-old American from Houston, a retired engineer, a good man by most standards. But like so many foreign men who come here, he confused attention with loyalty, and that confusion almost cost him his life. Not from a robbery, not from a scam, but from something far more dangerous. A woman's jealous boyfriend who decided Michael needed to disappear. This is not a romance. This is not a cautionary tale. This is a survival story. And the person who saved him wasn't who you'd expect. Michael arrived in Manila on a Tuesday afternoon in March 2023. He'd done his research, Reddit threads, YouTube expat channels, Facebook groups full of men just like him, divorced, burned out, looking for a fresh start. The Philippines promised three things: affordable living, warm culture, and yes, the women. Within a week, he'd signed a lease on a 2-bedroom condo in Bonifacio Global City. 28,000 pesos a month, about $500 USD. A steal compared to his old mortgage in Texas. The condo came with something else, a recommendation for a housemaid from the building manager. Her name was Rosa Mendoza, 54 years old, mother of 3, widow, quiet, professional. She came in 5 days a week, cleaned, cooked simple meals, ironed his shirts, and never complained, never asked for advances. To Michael, she was background, a convenience, part of the expat package. He'd say good morning in broken Tagalog. She'd smile politely, and that was it. But Rosa, she was studying him from day one. Filipinas don't just work, they observe. She noticed how he left his pills on the counter, diabetes medication, how he video called his daughter every Sunday at 8 p.m., how he ate alone most nights, scrolling through his phone, searching for connection. She saw a lonely man, and in the Philippines, lonely men are magnets for trouble. It happened in his 3rd week. Michael went to a sports bar in Makati to watch an NBA game, sat alone at the counter, ordered a San Miguel, and then she walked in. Jasmine Reyes, 27 years old, long black hair, golden skin, lips painted the color of sin. She sat 2 seats away, smiled at him, not the aggressive transactional smile of a bar girl, but something softer, curious. She asked if he was American. He said yes. She said she loved American accents. They talked for 3 hours. She told him she worked at a call center, that she'd been single for 2 years, that most Filipino men her age were immature, that she wanted someone stable, someone serious. Every line was perfectly calculated, every smile timed to perfection. She touched his arm when she laughed, looked into his eyes when he spoke, made him feel like the most interesting man in the room. And Michael, a man who hadn't felt wanted in years, felt like he'd won the lottery. By the end of the night, they'd exchanged numbers. By the end of the week, they'd gone on 3 dates, expensive restaurants, shopping at Greenbelt, rooftop bars with skyline views. Michael paid for everything. He didn't mind. She made him feel young again, made him feel desired, made him feel like he'd finally found what he came to the Philippines for. By the end of the month, Jasmine had a drawer in his condo, then 2 drawers, then half the closet. She'd arrive with shopping bags, leave with empty ones. Always needed just a little help with bills. Her mother was sick. Her brother needed surgery. The rent was due. Michael never questioned it. He was in love. Or at least, he thought he was. And Rosa? Rosa noticed everything. The way Jasmine's stories changed. The way she'd disappear for hours without explanation. The way she treated Rosa like furniture. Invisible. Insignificant. Beneath her. Rosa would greet her politely. Jasmine would barely acknowledge her existence. To Jasmine, Rosa was just the help. But to Rosa, Jasmine was a storm waiting to break. At first, Rosa said nothing. In Filipino culture, you don't interfere with your employer's private life. You keep your head down. You do your work. You stay invisible. But Rosa couldn't ignore what she was seeing. It started small. A second phone. Jasmine had 2 phones. One she used openly around Michael. Another she kept face down on the nightstand. Always vibrating. Rosa saw it while changing the bedsheets. Then there were the clothes. Jasmine would arrive in one outfit and leave in another. Designer bags. New shoes. Perfumes. Michael never bought her. One morning, Rosa found a receipt in the trash. A hotel in Quezon City. Dated 2 days before. Jasmine's name on the reservation. But Michael had told Rosa that Jasmine was visiting her sick mother that night. Rosa's stomach turned. Then came the overnight stays that didn't add up. I'm helping my cousin move. My aunt's birthday party in Cavite. Girls' night in Alabang. But Rosa would see Jasmine's Instagram stories. Nightclubs in BGC. Cocktails at rooftop bars. Photos with men whose faces were always cropped out. Rosa didn't have social media herself, but her daughter did, and her daughter showed her. Mama, isn't this your boss's girlfriend? Rosa's heart sank. She wanted to believe she was wrong. Maybe Jasmine was just young, enjoying life, that it was none of her business. But then came the lie Rosa couldn't ignore. Still, she stayed quiet, because in the Philippines, the messenger always gets blamed. But then, the phone call. Rosa was mopping the kitchen floor one afternoon. Jasmine was in the bathroom. Her phone, the second one, rang on the couch. Rosa glanced at the screen. The name flashing. Love, not Michael's name. Love. Rosa's heart pounded. She didn't answer. She didn't touch it. But she knew. Jasmine wasn't just cheating. She was living a double life. And the man on the other end of that phone had no idea a foreigner was in the picture. That night, Rosa barely slept. She thought about her own late husband, how loyal he'd been, how they'd struggled together for 30 years, how he'd worked 3 jobs so their children could go to school. That was love, real love. What Jasmine was doing, this wasn't love. This was parasitism. But who was Rosa to judge? She was just the maid. That's when Rosa realized this wasn't just betrayal. This was a danger. Because in Filipino culture, a man scorned doesn't just walk away. He comes back with anger, with pride wounded, with violence. 3 weeks later, Rosa made a decision. She had to tell Michael. Not because it was her job, but because she could feel it. Something bad was coming. One evening, after Jasmine left, Rosa approached Michael in the living room. She spoke carefully, respectfully. "Sir, may I speak with you?" Michael looked up from his laptop. "Sure, Rosa. What's up?" "Sir, it's about Miss Jasmine." His face changed, defensive, cold. What about her? Sir, I think she is not honest with you. Silence. Michael's jaw tightened. Rosa, I appreciate your concern, but... Sir, I see things. I see her phone. I see... Enough. He cut her off, his voice hard. Rosa, I know you mean well, but Jasmine and we're fine. You don't need to worry about my personal life. Rosa's eyes dropped. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. She walked back to the kitchen, heart heavy. Michael felt guilty for a moment, but then brushed it off. He thought Rosa was jealous, or old-fashioned, or maybe just protective in that Filipino helper way. He didn't realize Rosa had just tried to save his life, and he'd refused to listen. 2 weeks later, it happened. It was a Thursday afternoon. Michael was in his bedroom, taking a Zoom call with a client back in the States. Rosa was in the kitchen preparing merienda, afternoon snacks. Jasmine was out. Meeting a friend, she'd said. Then, knock, knock, knock. Loud, aggressive, impatient. Rosa wiped her hands and walked to the door. She looked through the peephole. A man stood there, mid-30s, muscular build, tattoos on both arms, eyes filled with rage. Rosa's blood turned cold. She cracked the door open, chain still locked. Opo, sino po kayo? Yes, who are you? The man's voice was sharp, dangerous. Nasaan si Jasmine? Where is Jasmine? Rosa's mind raced. Wala po dito, sir. She's not here, sir. The man pushed against the door. Wag kang magsinungaling. Alam kong nandito siya. Don't lie to me. I know she's here. Rosa planted her feet, kept the chain locked. Wala po talaga, sir. Umalis na siya. She's really not here, sir. She already left. The man's face twisted. Tapos nasan yung kano? Yung Amerikanong kasama niya? Then where's the foreigner? The American she's with? Rosa's heart stopped. He knew about Michael, and he was here to hurt him. Rosa made a split-second decision. Wala rin po siya. Umalis din. Nag-abroad na. He's not here either. He left. He went abroad. The man stared at her, breathing hard. Then he grabbed the door handle, rattled it violently. Papasukin mo ko o babasagin ko to? Let me in or I'll break this down. Rosa didn't move. She pressed her back against the door, every muscle shaking. Then she screamed, Michael, lock your door! Don't come out! The man froze, shocked that she called the foreigner by name. In that split second, Rosa slammed the door shut, locked the deadbolt, and pressed the emergency button in the hallway. Alarms blared. The man cursed, kicked the door once, then ran. Security arrived 2 minutes later, but the damage was done. Michael stood in the hallway, pale, confused, terrified. Rosa, what the hell just happened? Rosa looked at him. Tears were streaming down her face. Sir, that was Jasmine's boyfriend, and he came here to kill you. Michael didn't sleep for 3 days. He replayed everything in his mind. The red flags he ignored, the lies he swallowed, the woman he trusted. The police kept him updated. Jasmine's boyfriend, his name was Carlo, had a record. Assault and battery, 2019. Domestic violence, 2021. 2 restraining orders from ex-girlfriends. He'd been fired from 3 security jobs for aggression. He had gang affiliations, and according to Jasmine's neighbors, he'd been living with her the entire time, in her apartment in Mandaluyong. the apartment Michael helped pay rent for. The investigators showed Michael photos, Carlo and Jasmine, at the mall, at the beach, at family gatherings. She'd introduced him as her boyfriend to everyone, to her friends, her family, her neighbors. Everyone knew about Carlo. No one knew about Michael. He was the secret. The side hustle, the foreign ATM. Michael felt his entire reality collapse. Everything he thought he knew was fiction. On the fourth day, he sat Rosa down. "Rosa, why did you do that?" She looked confused. "Do what, sir?" "You could have been hurt. He could have forced his way in. You could have just let me handle it." Rosa smiled softly. "Sir, you are a good man. You pay me fair. You respect me. You remember my daughter's birthday." Her voice cracked. "In this country, we do not forget kindness, and I could not let a good man die because of a bad woman." Michael's throat tightened. "But you risked your life, Rosa. For me. Why?" Rosa looked down at her hands. Weathered, calloused, hands that had scrubbed floors for 30 years. "Sir, when my husband died, I had nothing. 3 children to feed. No savings, no insurance, just my hands and my faith. I worked for many foreigners before you. Some treated me like dirt. Some paid late. Some looked at me like I was invisible. But you ask how my day is. You let me eat with you at the table. You gave me a bonus when my son was in the hospital. That is not just employment, sir. That is respect. And respect is worth protecting." Michael broke down. For the first time since arriving in the Philippines, he cried, not from fear, not from betrayal, but from gratitude, from shame, from realizing that the person he'd barely noticed was the person who cared about him most. He doubled Rosa's salary, paid for her daughter's college, gave her health insurance, made her a permanent full-time employee, set up a savings account in her name with 50,000 pesos. But more than that, he finally saw her, not as the maid, not as the help, not as background noise, but as the woman who saved his life, as family. So here's the truth, gentlemen. You came to the Philippines for freedom, for warmth, for a second chance. But the person who will protect you here isn't the one holding your hand in public. It's the one who sees you at your worst and stays anyway. Michael learned this the hard way. The woman he loved was a lie. The woman he ignored was his savior. 6 months later, Michael still lives in that same condo in BGC. But everything is different now. Rosa works for him full-time. She has her own room, her own benefits, her own dignity. Her daughter graduated from nursing school. Her son got a job at a call center. Her youngest is in college studying education. All because Michael finally saw her. And Jasmine? She moved on to another foreigner, a 61-year-old Australian in Makati. But here's what Michael wants you to know. Every single one of you watching this has a Rosa in your life. Maybe it's your maid. Maybe it's your landlord. Maybe it's the trike driver who remembers your address. Maybe it's the security guard who checks on you when you come home late. These are the people who will save you, not the Instagram models, not the girls in the clubs, not the ones who only show up when your wallet is open, but the ones who show up when your life is in danger. So let me ask you, do you even know who's truly loyal to you in this country? Because in the Philippines, the people you overlook might be the only ones watching your back. Michael learned that lesson at the edge of violence. You don't have to. Pay attention, show respect, Recognize loyalty when you see it, because the woman quietly sweeping your floors, she might just save your life one day. And when that day comes, you'd better pray you treated her right. Think about that. And if you're yet to watch our new series of tour guides with benefits, you can do that now. Just click to watch it now.